on Facebook.
Going live.
All right, we are live on YouTube, and we are almost. I got the spinning wheel of death. There we go.
There it is.
Perfect. Okay, it
live.
seems like we are here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. It's Church Chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
It is Church Chat Wednesday. I'm Pastor Dan.
And I'm Pastor Dave.
And James Adkins is over there pushing the buttons and
I'm just James.
playing with guitars. And you're just James?
I'm just James. That's it.
You don't need... I feel like you're somebody I need to call by their full name. You're
James Adkins.
Okay.
That's right.
Some people call me Pensacola Jim.
Pensacola Jimmy. I like that. I like that. Does anybody call you Jimmy?
Very rarely.
Yeah?
I don't mind it. I just don't really hear it very much.
Yeah, you've got a name that a lot of times gets shortened, but you've never shortened it.
Interestingly, the only time that I was called Jim was by an old teacher of mine named Dave Shalander, who it just so happened that there was already a Jim in the class.
Okay.
And so at one point he was like, "Can I call you Jim?" And I was like, well, I kind of looked over at the Jim that was in the class, the other student, and I was like, I guess. And then it just became so confusing. It went back to James in a week. So there you go.
And actually, Jimmy is not a shortened version of James. It's the same amount
longer.
of letters.
No, it's more
That'd
letters,
be a
right?
good name for an album. Flag City Jimmy.
Flag City Jimmy.
Yep.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. It is the same amount.
Well, unless you spell Jimmy Jimmie. I mean, you could do that.
Okay, yeah.
But then that would just be dumb. So let's not do that.
Let's not do it.
We'll just stick with James. James Adkins.
Fair enough.
Full name. I like that. Dave, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, doing great, and just happy to be here with all of you people in internet land. And we've just been doing these again while we're social distancing and all of that. I did want to clear something up because I think there might have been a little confusion around when church is reopening.
Okay.
So we've told you we're hoping the goal is the first Sunday in June. That is not set in stone. The leadership is going to meet again over Zoom later in this month and kind of reassess the situation. But we've kind of named that as a day that, all right, well, let's start preparing as if that's when we're going to be back, and what are the things we need to do to make that happen. We still don't know exactly, but that's our hope and our goal, and we will keep you informed best we can. But there's a chance that we might have to say not yet. We're watching it. We'll try to figure it out. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit. But yeah, we miss you guys, and we'd like to be back. We miss most of you. That's not true. We miss you all. And we're looking forward to being back together again. But in the meantime, we're just doing stuff like this. Worship on Sunday mornings at 10:30 here on the couch. And I know a lot of you have been watching from wherever it is that you are. I've heard a lot of people say they're really getting used to church in their pajamas. And you know what? When we're back together, if you want to wear your pajamas, come as you are. We don't care. Are you gonna? Would you come in your pajamas?
I would not, but that's a me thing.
That's a you thing.
Yeah.
Well, you like to look your best.
I would come in some kind of plaid shirt.
That seems likely.
Yeah.
We were having this conversation recently. Like,
Yeah.
is that all that you have?
Well, pretty much. We went to watch James play at Logan's, and it was bring your dad and wear your plaid.
Right.
And Susie Richter commented, "You have on a plaid shirt. Dave's ready." And Heidi looked at her and said, "When in the last 20 years have you seen Dave not in a plaid shirt?" So,
Yeah. As I think back on it, I can't remember
yeah.
seeing you in anything other than a plaid shirt. I think it would throw me off a little bit.
It's my thing. Well, a t-shirt would probably blow your mind, but
That would blow my mind. I don't know what I would do with that.
every once in a while.
Every now and then. So, chicken update. Your chickens are good.
Chickens are great.
Yep. Mine, last night, we let them run around the yard a little bit. I forgot to put them away, and so it's like 9:30, and I'm like, oh no, I never put the chickens away. So I go out, and they were panicking because they couldn't get in, and so some of them had roosted up on top of their crate, and like one was trying to fly in the window, and didn't realize after the 37th time it ran into the window that like the next time's not going to go any better.
They're not
right.
smart.
So, and then another one decided to perch itself up on the chain link fence between my yard and my neighbor's yard. And I walked over to it very, very gently because the last thing I wanted was to chase a chicken around my neighbor's yard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not a good look
Yeah.
as a neighbor. That's not something you want to do. We've kept a good relationship with that neighbor, so I don't want to.
Yeah, that's why I don't let mine out.
Yeah.
'Cause chickens all over a neighbor's yard is a little too much.
It's a little much.
Yeah.
It's a little much. So, and I continue every time I see you to be just really moved by your mustache and how regal it's looking.
That's the word I would
Regal?
use. Regal,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Majestic,
Majestic.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I really think, if you ever decide to not do the plaid, I think I would go with Western Sheriff.
Big.
You could start to pull that off a little bit. I mean, you're already supposed to be wearing a mask. You should definitely be on the
Like,
red
who's that?
bandana.
Sam Elliott style.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. I mean, I get you and Sam Elliott confused on a regular basis.
Duh.
By the way, the soul patch is looking extra nice.
Oh, thank you.
I do like the soul
Speaking
patch.
of moving,
Yes.
two things. I heard that Elaine downtown, she sold the business on Friday. It was
Really?
her last day. That's my favorite place to go to breakfast. I love
Oh.
that place. So that, and I was we had a wedding this weekend,
Yeah.
and it was really moving. It was because I'm doing this wedding, right, and I almost started to get choked up because here in the middle of all this isolation and stuff, you
Yeah.
have little beautiful thing going on, and it was
Yeah.
just like a little moving, and it reminded me just of how we need each other,
Yeah.
and I can't wait just till things get back to normal.
Yeah.
And I mean, just being around, there was 30 people, and 10 of those was the
Bridal party.
bridal
Yeah.
party, and so they had 10 from each side viewing the wedding, and and there weren't any hugs or anything, but it was still
Yeah.
it was just beautiful.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah, that was moving.
Very. You're like a burnt marshmallow. Like
Yeah.
you can be crusty on the outside, but you're warm and gooey inside.
That always, And the weird thing is, the older you get and the closer to Jesus you get, the gooier you get.
That's the most profound thing I've ever heard. Wow.
So what have you been up to?
So nothing too exciting. My garden is coming in quite nicely. I love to garden, and it's coming in. So I've been able to start picking some stuff out of that, which I
Wow.
love. And yeah, doing that. There's a Civil War documentary that just came out on Amazon Prime. Totally binge watched the whole thing yesterday.
Sounds interesting.
Now I know you hate that. I loved it. It was fantastic.
No, I watched. This is my speed. I scared the heck out of myself. What night was that? Monday night. I watched a scary movie by myself. Put it this way: when your wife keeps coming in the room and saying, "You sure you don't want me to turn on the light?" And I jump easy. Like my kids will take me to the theater and we'll watch something, and like every once in a while I want to touch my legs or something just to watch. I've pulled muscles before. Dude. So, scary movies and it's a love-hate thing, you know what I mean?
Were you like holding a teddy bear during it or anything?
I did have my blanket.
You had your blanket?
Yes, wadded up.
That is it's a whole new insight into who you are
Yeah.
as a person. So you learn so much on this show. We're going to be talking today with somebody. We've been really excited about this, and you found out. Well, you explain. How'd you meet him?
I watched a video that James put in our link last week. It's just the video is incredibly well done, I think. But anyway, there's a guy he lives in Appalachia, Zanesville, Ohio, and there's a lot of racial tension where he's at, and he will cover up tattoos for free of anybody who's I think on the video there's one girl has a swastika on one, and he does it for free, and so
That's awesome.
I'm like, that is just really moving. So
Yeah.
I reached out to him, and sure enough, he called me back. His name's Billy Joe White, which
You love that.
I love that.
You see, that's another person. You say their whole name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say the whole name. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to be talking with him in just a minute, and we're going to be kind of talking about redemption out of that, because I think that what a great image of redemption and what it looks like. What Jesus does for us, right? I mean, just totally covering up the things that we've done and turning them into something beautiful, and redeeming and restoring us, and so just what a beautiful image of that. So so excited to be talking with him here in just a minute, and we'll talk a little bit about just some of the people in Scripture that that give us a really good example of what that looks like, of what redemption and restoration looks like, and how Jesus turns you into just a brand new person. We're a couple minutes early, but I think we're good to go ahead and give him a call.
Ready to reach out, huh?
Yep, let's
Okay,
do it.
Let's do it.
Billy Joe,
Billy Joe.
I just gotta click all the right buttons and it'll happen. Here we go.
we believe in you.
Don't do that.
Wonder, can the audience hear that little dun?
Probably.
I'm sure.
Okay. We're getting it here. There we go.
All right. Hi, Billy. How are you doing? This is Dan, and I'm here with Dave.
Hey, I'm doing well. Let me get this clipped in, and I think we'll be
All right,
good.
right on.
How are you, brother?
Doing well, man. Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing
today?
good, and we hear that you've been given the green light to get to reopen tattoo parlor. So I assume that you're kind of working on all of that as we speak.
Yeah, we just got the word yesterday from our governor and lieutenant governor that we would be included in the phase of opening with the barber shops and salons and things of that nature. There was a little bit of a hang up for a few days, kind of wondering, why we weren't included, but we got clarification yesterday, and since yesterday we've been just basically trying to implement the game plan that we've been coming up with over the last couple months and time to think about it.
Are there big changes? Because I know in general, tattoo parlors you guys take a lot of steps to ensure cleanliness and avoid cross-contamination and all that stuff anyway. So are there a lot of big steps you're going to have to take?
Well, no, honestly, I was kind of surprised, but like you're saying, we already try to do a lot. We kind of treat everybody like they have something. It's kind of like that common thought process in our industry. So we're already doing a lot to mitigate any kind of cross-contamination or anything like that. So the biggest thing we saw in there is that, we don't offer body piercing at all. We're strictly a tattoo shop, but we noticed that probably a large body piercing has been taken away when it comes to oral piercings. It's kind of like if you're in that belly of the beast area, that's been negated moving forward. But ultimately, there's some kind of standard procedures that we're going to be taking moving forward as far as like client background and doing some vetting when it comes to that. But really, it's stuff that we were going to do whether the mandate had it in there anyway. So I think we're pretty ready to go.
Excellent. Well, I know we posted online, and can you tell us what it is you do and how all that got started? I'm not talking about
Yeah.
tattooing. I'm talking about the cover-ups.
Yeah. Well, I have been tattooing for almost 16 years now, which seems really crazy. And kind of through that, I really realized that how transformative and powerful tattooing can be, not only as an art form, but as like really just as a healing tool for not only, for just really many different reasons. So, recently, as far as I think it was 2017, right after Charlottesville happened in Virginia, I had just kind of decided that, at this point, it was something that I really wanted to gear up for and use my talents and my skill set to kind of combat something, which I see is very prevalent in my area, which is racism. And so innately, when we first started in 2017, I had said that I would do the first 10 tattoos pro bono, free of charge, any hate-based cover-ups. I honestly thought it would take us probably about a year. I really didn't really know the capacity that people really needed this service. So, but we went through the first 10 really quickly. I think I did 3 that within the first couple of days, and then it basically became pretty clear that it was going to be something that we really just were going to have to continue to do. So that's really what we've been doing ever since. We've kind of shifted the paradigm a little bit, where we use tattooing as a form of healing for not only people who have moved on from a hate-filled past or a racist lifestyle, but we're using it to help cover former gang members' tattoos. We've shifted it to work against human trafficking and sex trafficking. And we are using it for kind of self-harm cover-ups as well.
Awesome.
So, we've just really realized that there's a lot of people, and over the last 3 years, we've been told a lot of different stories. So it's really hard to say no to people who really need your help. So that's something that we've all just been really committed to here, and using our skill set to just shift that and to continue to work with our community and with humans.
Wow, I didn't realize that you had expanded like that. Maybe not a lot of people know, but people who are sex trafficked and that kind of thing often do get tattooed. It's kind of like a branding of. So that
absolutely.
Is incredible.
Yeah. Is there a particular, without giving out too much detail, is there a story or a person that really stands out to you?
To me, they're all very unique. They're all really, really powerful. When you're dealing with people who are going through these kind of transformations, you never really know wholeheartedly everybody's whole story. But we've become friends with some of these people and really tried to stay in contact. John, who was actually in the documentary Beneath the Ink, as kind of the main subject matter. I mean, you see his story right there. You have a man who has participated in, different hate groups, had a Klansman tattooed on his back, comes from generational hate-based, kind of passed down initiative in the family. And, to see him go through that transformation of losing his father to suicide and really dealing with mental health and dealing with all of those things that kind of come about that, and then come full circle and realize that that's not the life that he wanted to live, and actually, him and his ex-wife now actually had adopted a young boy of color out of Florida. And even I think what's tremendous is in that documentary you hear John say, this is something I don't want my son to know that I've partaken in, and he's taken the steps now where it is something that he's talked to his son about. His son has seen the documentary. I don't think that this, a lot of times people think this blanketed excuse of like, we're just covering it up. And it's kind of like that whole, you put a piece of newspaper over the dog accident, when he pees on your floor or something, you're not really fixing the problem, you're kind of covering it up. And we've really found that, a lot of these people have taken different measures to really grow and to continue to transform and really be able to address some of the other issues that they probably didn't even realize that they were having, as far as, when it comes to drug and alcohol addiction, mental health issues. So I don't ever claim to be the final step. A lot of times, we're the first step in the process, but, we just want to keep urging people to keep pushing yourself and challenging yourself to make those right decisions and to, do the right thing, which isn't easy, but, we want to continue just to be there for the people that want to be. And there's a lot, we can, this right here is our current, waiting list. And, since then, there's people in there that have reached out to us from all over the United States.
Wow.
I recently took this opportunity at the beginning part of the year to really dial in and really understood that, like, even though we do all this work for free, it didn't make much sense for someone from, Chicago or, it really anywhere. We had people from Portland saying they were willing to make the trip. But it just didn't make sense fundamentally for them to spend all this money to come here when there are people around what we have found to be the world that really want to use their skill set to help out. So we started an initiative. We're still continuing to build that initiative where different tattoo shops and tattooers around the world have joined in to use their skill set to combat racism and different things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been, if you would have told me 3 years ago that this was going to be something that happened, I would have never believed you. But, I've just accepted that role now, and I understand the importance of it. So it's just going to be something that we're going to keep fighting the good fight. We're real convicted. So we're just trying to make everybody's life a little bit better and put those people with the people that can help them out, who might be a little bit closer to them as well.
That's very cool. I think one of the things that I found is that a lot of times when I'm trying to do something to help somebody else, it has as much of an impact on me oftentimes as it does them. How have you experienced that? Do you feel like you have changed as a person in the middle of all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't, I say, kind of jokingly, I feel like I'm somewhat addicted to this in some way now. I feel like, there's just something really good about helping someone who needs help, or just taking care of the people that you love. It's, I feel like I've definitely grown, in the film. I say some things in there that I look back and say to myself, that was pretty ignorant. There's a quote in there that I said that, I just kind of thought that we had moved past this time. And if I'm being quite honest, I mean, that's just my white privilege that was coming through. The times really haven't changed. The scenarios may have, but the reality is that these are still problematic issues that go way deeper than most people even really want to believe. And so, yeah, every time that I have the opportunity to kind of help and fight and to speak and to continue the conversation, I honestly feel like I'm more enriched and more blessed than really probably even the people that I'm helping, because I feel like it's just exponential growth.
Yeah. Awesome. Plug your tattoo parlor. What's it called, and how can people find you?
Yeah, we're Red Rose Tattoo. We're in Zanesville, Ohio. We have a Facebook page. If you look up Red Rose Tattoo, we have an Instagram page at red_rose_tattoo. All of our artists are on the pages. You can link into any of us and see any of the examples of our work. You can check out the documentary, which is it's floating around all over the internet. It was a Vimeo staff pick. It's on the GQ YouTube page, so you can watch it. It's just a short documentary.
And that's called Beneath the Ink, right?
Yep, Beneath the Ink. We're actually really hopeful that we can continue to tell these stories. We think it's a vital part of the conversation. So to provide some understanding as to not only how these people got to where they are, but also why they're taking the steps to better their lives. I think anytime you can put yourself into someone else's shoes and try to gain a little bit of understanding, life is about perspective. So we just try to and want to tell those stories the best way that we can. So we're hopeful that we can continue to do that.
Very cool.
Well, it's been great having you on the show, and I really appreciate you taking the time to call me back and to give up some time while you're moving in. I just hope you keep fighting the good fight, brother.
Hey, we're not going to stop anytime soon, man. I think this is part of our calling. I told my kids yesterday, Jesus was a carpenter. He worked with his hands, So I'm proud to be working with my hands, making something that I know that's gonna not only last, it's gonna transcend time and people's lives. So we're gonna keep fighting.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for taking some time. Thanks for everything that you do.
Yeah, man. You guys have a great day. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah. God bless. Bye.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I just think of everyday prophets, and that's who he is and what he's doing. He's speaking some of God's truth into his community in a way that, I know for a lot of people that could be very taboo, just the idea of tattoos,
right.
I get that, but the way that he's loving others and without judgment, without any of that, just saying we're here to help address an issue that is so prevalent, especially in Appalachia. It's really very, very cool.
Yeah. I think it would make a good TV show. I really do.
Yeah.
There's enough of those shows out there. I'll tell you, my wife, when we were still dating, she worked 1 year in Appalachia and teaching, and you're talking about kids who, by midwinter smell pretty strong. The creek out back was frozen, so they weren't bathing. They would come. Some of them would come to school, and they still have coal because that's what they use to heat their house with. I mean, it is a different world for sure. She did it to get a year's worth of experience, and it was pretty eye opening. Thing there, and it just touches my heart, to see how someone's life can be totally transformed. I watch those videos, I Am Second videos. Have you ever seen them? And I know there are one or two adult film actors in there, and they talk about how, a lot of people think that that's a harmless
Yeah.
in industry because it just affect, if I'm going to watch it, it's just going to affect me. Well, the way it was put that makes the most sense is, could you imagine at some of your weakest moments, your smallest moments in life, somebody capturing that and it being out there forever.
Yeah.
And it's the same with these tattoos. That some of your smallest and weakest moments in life,
Right.
whatever led you to do something that hateful,
Right.
and to be able to step from underneath that and, like you said, reevaluate it.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of people. So much of that is in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, I start every sermon with the same thing. This is our good news that God sent His only Son. It's to transform us, to change us into something different.
Yeah.
And that's all that Jesus is about. And it also makes me think of Paul,
Yeah.
the Apostle Paul, just who did this huge 180.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we know that Paul started off. His name was Saul, and he had this hatred for Christians. He had this hatred for people, which he thought was justified. He
Right.
thought was entirely justified in his Jewish faith. And then it's an encounter with Jesus that transforms him, right, on the road to Damascus, and he has this encounter. It's this complete and total flip around, and begins going by Paul after that, and it just, everything within him changes and is transformed, and it reminds me of what Billy's doing, because these are people that needed to be transformed in some way, but you couldn't do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
You can't cover up that tattoo in the middle of my back myself.
Right.
I needed somebody else to be that person that could help bring about that transformation, and so Jesus, in a very real sense, came in and said, the stuff that you've done before, it's not erased, but it's covered now by me. It's covered by, and I love some of the words in the old hymns, like covered by the blood and washed in the blood of Jesus. That it's covered up by that, by what He did for us. And Billy's making a sacrifice. It's small in comparison to what Jesus' sacrifice was, but gonna do this for free, gonna take my time and my talents and put that to use to help bring about that kind of transformation. And so it makes me think about a couple of things that I think, because you can very easily hear his story and say, I'm so glad there's people like that in the world. But I think it's what it makes me think about is, okay, how can I help bring about transformation in someone else?
Right.
Or that kind of redemption in someone else? How can I be that catalyst with the things that I do? And maybe it's kind of easy for us to think about as pastors, like that's kind of our job. But every Christian is a minister. I believe that is the priesthood of all believers, and so each of us are called in some way to help bring about that kind of restoration and transformation in someone else's life. And so, what are the ways? What are the gifts God has given you? What are the places you've been put where you can do something that helps people to become the child of God they were created to be? Like, so that's one thing it makes me think of. And then the other is, what are the places in my life that still need to be covered? What are the things in my life that still need to be redeemed and transformed in some way? Because it's also easy to look at the people coming in to the tattoo parlors, and saying, "Oh, those are the kind of people that need fixed." But what needs fixed about me? What are the areas of my life that still need to be redeemed, still need to be transformed in some way? So those are just a couple of things I was thinking about as he was talking.
One thing that really impressed me about him as well is when I had that initial conversation with him, I thought, do you guys have a donate button or some kind of GoFundMe thing so we can help you out? This is what he said. Don't give me your money. Spend your money on another worthwhile cause.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep tattooing people and covering it. I thought that was really cool because so many people would be tempted to be, oh yeah,
Yeah. Here's my Venmo.
That would
you
be-
know.
And then I was thinking about what you were just talking about a second ago is that I think longer I've been a Christian and the deeper I love Jesus, I spend a whole lot more time doing self inventory than inventorying others. But I still think it is easy to do that, to to inventory somebody else, and at least I'm not. And we as Christians so often have this habit of hierarchying our sin.
Yeah.
And yes, I might do this.
You need to
but at
stop
least I'm
because
not.
you're really getting into my sermon for this Sunday.
Oh yes.
You're really starting to steal my thunder. So I need you to stop. So
That is funny.
no, but that's it. Seriously, that's exactly
Yes.
and we're going to talk about Romans, so here's your sneak peek. That's really what Paul's getting on some of the Christians about, is that we do a really good job of saying, at least I'm not them. At least I'm not that guy. And he basically says, yeah, there's not really a hierarchy. There's two levels in the hierarchy. There's Jesus and sinners. And those are the two levels, right? And so you can say, well, at least I'm not that. It doesn't matter. You're still in that category there. You are still a sinner, and we all are. We've all sinned. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. And he kind of points out that maybe our job, that having the law, that knowing this stuff doesn't mean that we get to lord it over somebody. All it does is shine a light on all the places where we've fallen short.
Right.
And I'm going to stop because I'm ruining my sermon.
That is so funny though, because I've been a part of so many networks, you
Yeah.
know, ministry networks, and we've done camps and retreats together, and everybody take a different night of preaching.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the amount of times that it's, oh my gosh,
You just ruined it.
yeah,
you ruined everything.
You totally. You had to have seen my playbook because So now I have to come up with something else by tomorrow.
I'm hanging on to all my really good analogies.
Yeah.
They're right here, but I'm not going to use them yet. So, oh
funny.
man,
Well, it might be a different crowd too, so.
it could be a different crowd. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I
Yeah,
wonder
so
what
no
our.
worries. No
I wonder
worries.
if we're going to increase our reach in Zanesville.
Maybe.
Hey, if you're in Zanesville and you're watching, shout out to Zanesville. We're big in Zanesville.
Yeah. Both of them watch us.
So, anything else for the good of the order?
Shonda wanted me
Oh, yes.
to
Yep.
bring this one up. They are doing a reverse parade for
Yes.
seniors. That was, I think I read today, it was June 6th, and the rain date was the 7th.
That sounds right.
And it's going to happen between Elms, on the south end, between Elm Street and McPherson. And I'm not exactly sure how all this works.
But the instructions are on the Facebook. They're out there somewhere. I posted it on my page. It's also on the mayor's page. I know. So look for it. And we'll try to get some info out there. Because I think it basically, like the turnoff point, I believe, is the church. Like Lima. So, we'll be there. So great opportunity to get out and support the
Yes.
seniors, the community, all that.
But like I told you, if I see Tyler Doe,
Right.
I'm not going to break eye contact, and I'm going to give him the slow clap.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
And we were talking, like, if you had the last name of Doe, how tempted would you be to name your kids like John and Jane?
And we also wondered how did they come up with
Where
John
did
Doe-
that come
John
from?
Doe?
Where did John, like, why did that become the thing?
Yes.
Somebody out there knows. We need to know.
But Tyler Doe is one of the funniest kids on the planet. That kid cracks me up.
Shout out to Tyler Doe.
Shout
Make sure that you check out Spark Kids Online, posted by Corinne. Great thing to do with your kiddos this week. And then also be sure to join us again, 10:30. We'll be right here on this couch having worship this Sunday, starting a new sermon series on Romans. And so I think it's also a celebration that made it through the Above the Fray series without getting fired. That's fantastic.
Yes,
So still have a job. Happy about that. And yeah, we're excited to be able to continue to worship with you. And just thank you for being a part of our community online. And we can't wait to be back together again soon. But for now, we'll let you enjoy this beautiful,
It's going to be great.
beautiful
Get
Wednesday.
your lawn mowed today.
Get your lawn mowed.
Because-
It's going to rain tomorrow.
3 days in a row, according to Chris Vickers.
Meteorologist Dave Charles says it's going to rain the next 3 days. So mow the lawn today.
But he gave the official green light for flower beds and gardens.
There you go. You've heard it here. Get in that garden. Do all the things. So thank you so much for being with us today. We love you guys. And we will see you on Sunday morning. Goodbye.
Peace.